last two. Hello, are you getting my voice, all of you? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. In last two sessions, we have seen ASP.NET introduction, like what is ASP.NET and how to like develop, how to create a new ASP.NET application. And we have understood ASP.NET application development environment. So all these solution explorer window, so about toolbox window, about properties window we had discussed. Now we are going to start ASP.NET controls. Almost all programming is started yesterday. So let's see. So ASP.NET will support various types of controls. So various types of controls. Already we have discussed about this. What is a control? Control is a predefined functionality. Every control will provide some special functionality. For example, you take text box control. Text box control functionality is what? What is the functionality of the text box? Uma, what is the functionality of the text box?
Well,
Text box. The control is a predefined functionality. Every control will have its own functionality. What is the functionality of the text box?
whenever we have to accept an input from the user, as well as we want to display the output.
Control. The text box will accept input from the user as well as display output to the user. So
Yes.
similarly, every control will have its own functionality. According to the requirements, we'll use these controls. These are all the controls are provided by the Microsoft. So that's why I said predefined functionality. And ASP.NET will support various types of controls. I said what are the various types? We'll see. Now I'll show you the ASP.NET application. You people also, whenever, yeah, I'm just creating something in Visual Studio. You also try for that. I'm creating a new application to show you the available types of ASP.NET controls. Open Visual Studio.NET, file, website, new website. Right. Now here always try to go with the empty website better for entry level. And here you select file system. And here example name is anything is okay. Okay button. Anything is okay. That depends upon your interest. So suppose you are working with text box control, then you can write text box example, radio button example, label example. Depends upon your example, you can give the name for your application. Now you have created your ASP.NET application, empty application. Now you can see, now add one web page. Right click, add new item, and you are adding a web page called web form 1, web form. For this web page, you can give the name. Mute yourself somewhere. I'm getting noise. Right. Right. Somewhere we are getting noise, guys. Who are you? It's me. Yeah. Now I'm adding a web page. You can observe add new item. Yeah. Let's take web form. And here you can give the name for your web page. Let us assume I'm giving the web page name as web form 1.aspx. Click which button add. With this process for your application, one new web page is added. That web page name is webform1.aspx. You can observe. Okay, now you are going to the design mode of your web page, and now you are going to see the list of the available controls in ASP.NET. Now you can observe toolbox, view, toolbox, toolbox. right? View toolbox. Now you can observe uh, available available controls in your ASP.NET. Number one, you can observe all the tabs are there here. One model is here. Yeah, come on. What is this? Standard controls. First one. Second one, data controls. Third one, validation controls. And the fourth one, navigation controls, login controls, web parts. So forget about this for some time. Forget about this for some time. And this also reporting controls and HTML controls and so on. There is various types of controls you can observe here. Various types of controls. So first category is what? First category is right. Now come on, tell me somebody like yeah, yeah. Madhuri, tell me first category is what? First category Madhuri, standard controls. Number two, guys like Nivedita. Now you give answer for remaining all the types of controls available in ASP.NET. Nivedita,
Data, data control,
data controls, data controls,
validation controls,
validation controls, validation controls.
navigation,
Right. First one is standard controls. Okay. Second one is data controls. Simultaneously, whatever I am writing here in Notepad, you people also don't write in Notepad. Use pen and paper and just you write. That is different interaction. And for my questions, you have to respond through chat. One person is responding through voice. Because of that, what will happen? It's a conversation between one to one, which can listen by the people and which is very clear, will give more clarity. Second thing is your pen interaction, like you have to write on paper what I am writing, whatever you understood. Running notes, like when we are attending a live class also will have running notes like that. Are you writing that? How many are following that running notes?
yes, sir.
So we write every day, sir.
Yeah, that is very important. No, no, no. I have a doubt about that, whether you are writing or not. Second is, for every question, uh, for every technical question, you people have to respond through chart. That is also one type of interaction. Okay. So, right, validation controls. Next category is what, guys?
Navigation control,
Navigation controls. Navigation controls. Now, navigation controls. Next, fifth category,
login controls,
login controls. Login controls. Sixth category.
dynamic data,
Yeah, that we don't require to worry. Now that's why I said login. Okay, web parts, Ajax extensions, dynamic data. Among these three, you just take one controls as Ajax controls. Ajax controls. Next, seven, reporting controls. Reporting controls. Next, eight, I think HTML controls. HTML controls and so on. And so on. Like this, various types of controls are there in ASP.NET. So let's see one by one. Yeah, observe. Now coming to the standard controls. In standard controls, you will have, are you getting my voice clearly or any disturbance?
It's clear, sir.
Clear, right? So whenever you are working with any web page, first two duties, what you do, people expand these containers. Remember, remember this body div.
yes, sir.
Yeah, expand. You can observe the container. You can observe the containers, div body, these containers on your web page. First, whenever you want to drag and drop the control, you expand this all these containers, div, all this. I have expanded now, div container. Next, you check drag and drop the control. You can observe in standard, you will have controls like button, checkbox, radio button, checkbox, radio button, and a text box, and so on. These are all what you know. Most frequently using controls, they kept in which section? Standard. Most frequently using controls. These are all button, drag and drop. Whenever you drag and drop these button controls, you can observe the concern control source code. So with this we understood this button control tag prefix is ASP, control name and ID run at equal to server. Here run at equal to server means these controls are server side controls, means execute this particular control code within the web server. That's why server side controls we can say. Okay. Now this is the source code or that control syntax for what standard controls, and you can go with the next level controls called data controls. Coming to the data controls, you can see grid view, form view, details view, list view. Whenever we are working with collection of data from data sources like databases, we'll use these controls more. Especially you take grid view control. Whenever you drag and drop grid view control, you can see this is the code, and using this control we can display the data in rows and columns format. That's why these are all called data controls. Tag prefix, control name and run at equal to server. With this we understood data controls, also you can say server side controls. Next, coming to the validation controls, just it's a titles for movie. You know very well, whenever they were giving titles in a movie, olden days just they will simply give the titles, but in the latest movies you can observe intelligent directors, they'll introduce one by one important character. They will give you one name of the person, character name, and they will give the picture of the particular character, and will give one or two lines introduction about that. Yes, this is the so and so, he is the father of so and so, like that. So because of that, whatever director wants to explain to the audience, they are explaining just in one line. Then whenever movie is started, it will connect, the story will connect to the audience very easily. It is one type of clever, like you're gonna what is a direction. So similarly here, these are all our actors, those I'm introducing to you slowly one by one. And coming to the validation controls, you can observe here there are 6 types of validation controls. So what is this validation controls means? Validation controls are nothing but using these controls we can implement validations. What is a validation? Validating the user input. Validating the user input means whenever user entered some input, whether it is valid input or invalid input, you need to check. To check this, generally we will write the logics. Like for example, you take gmail.com. In gmail.com, whenever you say gmail.com, you will get which page? Login page. Gmail.com. What is the startup page of the Gmail? All of you guys, what is the startup page of the Gmail? Login page. Login page. Okay. Now here you got something called username. You got something called username. It's asking you username. For example, I click next button. Immediately you are getting one message. What is the message? Please enter your email. Please enter your, what is that? Please enter your email. So this is called what you know, validation, because you need to enter some email ID, but you didn't enter anything. That's why it is giving a error message like please enter your email ID you forgot to enter. This is called validation. Generally to do this we will write what you know, logics. To do this generally we will write what? Logics. But here those to avoid to write, to implement these validations, Microsoft is providing predefined controls. 6 types of controls are providing to reduce the programmer task. Instead of giving burden to the programmer to implement it. Right, 1 second guys. 1 second. Generally, programmer has to write the logics to implement validations. To reduce the programmer task, Microsoft is providing 6 validation controls. All these we'll see one by one. but we'll see one validation control, drag and drop called required field. If you will use these validation controls to implement validations, you don't require to write any logic, just setting some properties. The control will take care about all your validations. So I have drag and drop one validation control called required field validator control. Now you can observe. Now tag prefix is ASP, required field validator is the control name, right? Again, here also you can see one property called runNet equal to server, means this is also a server side control, means all these controls are server side controls, you can observe. Next to coming to the category, are you understanding, all of you guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
yeah.
Sir, I have a question. I didn't understand. Like for the login box, if I have to enter add that validation control, how do I do that?
Madam, it is
For a particular
madam,
login box.
madam, it is after break. You're asking about what is going to happen after interval. After interval story, how can I explain before interval? Okay?
Okay, sir.
Wait,
Yeah,
wait.
I thought I missed that part
No.
because I log in.
I'm introducing.
Okay,
If I will start
okay,
discussing about all these things now itself, we can't have any, like what will happen, it will unnecessarily divert the discussion. Okay,
okay.
now
No, I just log in, so I thought I missed that part.
I'm just showing you what are the
Okay.
various types of controls are there. Then you will understand. When I will discuss standard controls, you will get an idea. Oh, next we have to discuss validation controls. Next we have to discuss
Okay.
navigation. Navigation. Now coming to navigation controls. Coming to the navigation controls. What is this navigation control purposes? By using these controls, we can implement navigations. Navigation means navigating from one web page to another web page. Like there are various navigation controls are there. Let's say one control called menu. There is a control called menu. I have drag and drop a control called menu. You can observe this is also a menu. This is also a menu. You can observe file, new project. File new project means it's redirecting from one page to another page. Even though in Windows, in your Visual Studio.NET also you can see it's redirecting from one form to another form. This is called navigation. In ASP.NET to implement navigations, we have various navigation controls. Under that one navigation control is what you know, menu control. Even though here also you can observe tag prefix and tag name and run it equal to what is a server. Means it is also a server side control. It is also a server side control. Right. Now come back to next level is login controls. Next level, all these controls purpose is to reduce the programmer task. Especially you see the login controls, how it reduce the programmer task. For example, you want to implement login functionality. Now you tell me, Vasundhara, you tell me, if you want to implement login functionality, like if you want to implement login design, like what are the controls you need generally? You want to develop a login page,
Two
user ID,
two text boxes,
user ID.
one for user ID, another for
You can do
password,
all this
and
drag and drop two text boxes, one button, all these things.
yes, sir.
You will log in, drag and drop login. You see, all these things are coming in one shot. Okay, but I will never encourage you people to use this, but generally they have given like this. Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
One shot. You can see this control. ASP.NET is very beautiful concept. I'm sure because of our 10 days we worked for OOPS. 10, I think, 10, I think. 10, no, not 10. 10 or 20, I didn't remember. OOPS sessions. 20 went, I think.
20, sir.
Might be most of the people got it out unnecessary faculties wasting our valuable time for OOPS. You see, once you started ASP.NET programming, how your OOPS knowledge will be helpful for you. You can see. Okay. But I planned for 10, it went to 20 because OOPS is very danger like that. It is when we will go, when we are digging in, we will find first gold. Second, you will find what? Diamonds. So when you will find diamonds, will you do digging or you will stop? No, enough diamonds are enough. What you will do, Sundara? You are digging. First you find gold box, and again you are
I
trying.
did more and more.
And after half an hour you got diamond box, and you will get You will stop digging. Oh, it's enough for me. Gold I got.
No,
I got a,
no, I dig more and more.
that is the reason Oops will went for 20 sessions. I planned strictly for 10, but it went to double. Okay, that is Oops is like that only. We can't restrict to dig. Right, come on, you see the login, even though these are also server-side controls. Server-side controls. Now you can see login controls various, very like you like these controls very well. I'm sure about that. Okay, right. Drag and drop, change password. You see, observe. Simple one drag and drop. They are giving all complete design, even though these are all server-side controls. Understood, everybody? Yeah. Now next.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now you see create user wizard. Create user wizard means for you want to do user registration. User registration, sign up. You see one drag and drop. Okay, but I'll not encourage to use all these like this type of controls because your work will be reduced. You are a learner. You should not depend on all these. Next, after this, web parts, Ajax controls. Ajax controls like you can take script manager. Script manager. Some whenever you are implementing Ajax concept in ASP.NET, we'll use these are also server side controls run at equal to server. Next to come back to our discussion. Next to we'll take reporting controls. Reporting controls, crystal reports. Actually, whenever you are using crystal reports or SSRS, means whenever you are using reporting tools, that time you will use these controls called what you can use this type of reporting controls. Next, to come back to last category is called HTML controls. HTML controls. We worked with HTML. You can see drag and drop your HTML button. You can drag and drop. Here you can observe your HTML control is creating. Your HTML control is creating. I'm moving up the code. Wait for 1 second. I'm moving up. Right. Otherwise I'll do cut and paste. Yeah. Now you people can observe this. This is your HTML control. Input is the tag name. ID and type equal to button means button control. Now you can observe difference between all the above controls are ASP.NET controls, but it is the controls which are coming from HTML technology. The controls which are introduced in HTML, those controls you can use in ASP.NET web page also. But HTML is a client-side technology or server-side technology.
Client side.
Client side.
Because HTML is a client-side web technology, it will execute within the web browser. But ASP.NET is a client-side or server-side?
Server side.
Server-side. Now you can observe this. This is what you can say HTML button, and I'll show you like here in the top ASP.NET button. Top ASP.NET button. You can observe between these two buttons code. You can observe some difference. So whatever you have seen, all controls are ASP.NET controls. But this is only one category from HTML. Okay, you can observe one difference between what is the difference? Run. What is the difference?
Not equals to
Run at server.
Yes, in all ASP.NET controls, you can find one attribute called run at equal to server. Run at is an attribute or property. Server is a value which is telling that Babu, this code should execute within the web server. Means this particular control is a server side control. But coming to the HTML controls, you can observe, coming to the HTML controls, we can observe here we don't have run at equal to, we don't have run at equal to
server.
server
Server.
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 because this is a client side control. This particular control will execute within the web browser because HTML is a client side web technology. So among all these controls, you can say that first 7 are server-side controls because due to the reason which has a run it equal to server, and eighth category is client-side control. Eighth category is what control? Client-side control. Are you clear? Yes. So that is the story about all this.
Sir, I have a question. How can we differentiate looking at the design page or the web page, which control it is, like HTML control or ASP control?
That actually you cannot end user cannot decide, cannot understand whether it is client side or server side, because it is not related to the end user. Only by seeing the source code only you can find that whether it is a client side or server side. It is related to programmer. Programmer can identify with the help of which code? Source code. The two only that will be understanding here you can observe. If it is a ASP.NET control, you will have a tag prefix called
ASP.
ASP, and it will have run it equal to server. If it is a HTML control, generally you will have tags. You remembered about HTML tags. If you want
Yes,
to create a HTML button, what is the tag name?
input type is button.
Input
Input type.
input is tag name is input, attribute is type equal to button. If you want to create a ASP.NET, sorry, HTML text box, what is the tag? Input type equal to?
Input type to text.
Yes, that with that only you can understand that it is a HTML control. And here you have to say these 7 are server side controls, and this is client side. Each one is client side control. My question is, can I convert? Can I convert? Can I convert? Can I convert client side control as server side control?
Yes, by writing run it equals to server.
Yeah, yeah. Can I convert? And that means answer is what? Yes. How to convert client side control as server side control? How to convert client side control as a server side control? Answer is, what is answer?
Writing run it equals
By
to server.
adding run at equal to, what is that? Server. By adding run at equal to server. Now you can observe, now your HTML button you can change as run at equal to server. Run at equal to server. Your HTML button, right, by adding run at equal to server. Run at equal to server, right. Run at equal to, what is that? Server. Run at equal to server. Run at equal to, what is that? Server. Are you clear? Now immediately you can see, you just see there is no error. There is no error. Means you can convert your HTML control, client side control as a server side control. Now the next question is, can I convert server side control as client side control?
No.
Control. Answer is, we have to check. Answer is, you go to your source code, remove run at equal to server within the ASP.NET control. Within the ASP.NET control, I am removing run at equal to server. Now you can check. Showing what?
Error.
Error. So answer is what?
No.
No, you cannot. You cannot. So that is the story. Next, we are going with, so you cannot convert. So compulsory, here you should have run at equal to server.
Yes, sir.
Run at equal to server. Right. And as well as in your source code also, in every element you can observe, in every tag you can, most of the tags are having head section run at equal to server, means the code should execute within the web server. Now your div section, or here your form section run at equal to server. That element has run at equal to server means particular section should execute within the web server. Let's come back to our discussion. This is a small introduction about all available ASP.NET controls. Available controls in available controls in ASP.NET. There are some HTML controls are also there, which are also available in ASP.NET. Let's start our discussion with first standard controls. Let's start our discussion with the standard controls. Right. Standard controls. Yeah. Standard controls. In this first, let's start with label. Label control. Label. What we can do by using label. Yes. Label. What we can do. Using label, we can display. Actually, I have asked you to I was asked you people to do something on controls, I hope. I remember.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
right. How many are completed that task?
Completed, sir.
Sir, I have completed and I have sent it
Completed,
also.
sir.
Next, Kalyani.
Gonna check the
Girish.
whether I have sent it.
Next,
Girish.
right. Gilesh. Next, Rami Khan. Next,
Nivedita.
Kumar.
Rari. Next, Shiva Kumar. That is very important. Or not completed, that result will be there for you. If you are completed, when I am giving introduction, it will reach you very fast. Next, Akshita, are you there? Akshita, are you there? Akshita, yeah. Next, she got job actually. She's joined in company and again she's attending classes. I want to take her experience, want to share to you all people, but I think she's in office. She's unable to talk. Right? She got selected. Right, with C Sharp, I think. Without C Sharp only she got job. She has sent a mail to me. Next, come back to, yeah, right. Next, yeah, Dushyant, are you getting voice? Able to listen? Dushyant. Okay. Next, mute yourself. Next, Pravallikana. Right, what is her name? Yeah, Pramoda. Right, 1 minute. What is her name? Pravalika. Pravalika, are you getting voice?
Yes, sir.
Okay, able to see screen, audio, everything is fine, right? Okay, coming to label, right, using label, what we can do, we can display some messages, we can display some message within the web page, we can display some message within the web page. So then when we will go for label, for example, you take a control called label, label stand, take label, drag and drop. I'm removing remaining controls. Let's concentrate only label right now. So whenever I drag and drop a control, whenever I drag and drop a control, you people first do what? In the div section, concern control code will be generated. You can observe that this code understanding is very important, because generally I'll not encourage you people to drag and drop. You can generate a control in two ways. One is you can do drag and drop, or else you can write the source code. You can observe what is the tag prefix here, ASP, and colon, control name is label, ID is ID, label ID. By default IDs will be label 1, label 2, label 3. You can give your user defined label. For example, you are using a label to display welcome message. You can give ID as LBL welcome. Suppose you are using one label to display some hi message, then LBL hi, LBL hi. Okay, run it equal to server. Text equal to label means the content of the label, and this is the opening tag, this is the closing tag. So my intention is, don't depend on drag and drops. It's very danger. Suppose you observe, if you're not 100% clarity about this, for example, tomorrow, somewhere this double quotes mistakenly removed by somebody intentionally who are in beside, who are sitting in your job, then it is showing what error. And immediately, right now in our web page, we have only one control. That's why we can catch it very easily. But in real-time web page, it may contain a single page contain 100 controls. So the mistake identifying will be difficult for you. That is the reason my advice to you all the people, I'll encourage you guys to understand about what code, source code more. That's why whatever control you are dragging and dropping, just remove that control. Understand the control code and you write the code to generate the control. Now, yes. Okay guys. So now, yeah, one person, right? Kalyani, Pramoda, right? Pramoda, you tell me the code for create label. Come on. Hmm. Hmm.
1 second.
Tell me the code. Don't see and you just blindly tell me the code. I want to create a label. Hmm. Not drag and drop. I want to write the code like this. Prashanti. Prashanti. Hmm. Hmm.
ASP colon label ID equals to
ASP colon. You see, even though when you are writing the code, IntelliSense is clearly helping to you. ID equal to, let's say, label 1. Hmm. 1. Next.
um,
Hmm. Hmm.
run at equal to server within the columns.
Not equal to server. Hmm. Okay. So attribute
Close
text.
the
Text equal to some value. Some value called, let's say, label only. Label. Next. Yes. Text equal to label. Right. Now, yeah. Right. Label. ASP colon label. So you can create your label like this. Your label is right. Now even that you didn't get what happened. Label 1. Label ID equal to label 1. Run it equal to server. Text equal to
ID has
hmm,
double quotes 2 times.
చూడండి చిన్న మిస్టేక్ చేసాం మనం డబుల్ కోట్స్ అగైన్ వాట్ సింగిల్ double quotes again what single quotes. There is a problem. Label 1. Now you see. Right. Are you clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
So
sir.
same control
Yes,
and create
sir.
this also. Instead of opening tag and closing tag, directly you can close the tag like this also. You can close like this also. Here only I close it with slash. Now you can see. The label is created. Understood everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now
Yes.
remove this label like this. So this is what I am expecting from you people. Whenever you drag and drop the control, just understand the code and try to write the source code to create a control. Generally, most of the traders will not tell about this because it is time-consuming process. But that grip will help for developer, programmer, learner in future. Right now, coming to the properties of the labels. So, property of the label. Property of a label. You can see a property of a control in two ways. You can see the properties of a control with the help of properties window. With the help of properties window. How to open properties window? You know. Just to open view and last you will have an option called properties window and you will have a function key called F4. With this you can open your properties window. Here you are selected a control called label 1. That's why it is showing label properties. You can see ID and all these are left side attributes. These are all values and you can see your label, let's say, where different properties are there. In this, let me introduce couple of properties at present. First of all, ID. ID is one attribute. It is representing ID of the control, like our roll number. Second important property at present, which I am expressing, is more text. Text to. Suppose I written text label. Instead of that, no, Hyderabad. Then it will show you Hyderabad here. Hyderabad. As well as same property you can observe in source also. In source, you can access a property of a control in two ways. Number one is with the help of properties window. Number two is with the source window. In properties window, you can see all the available properties, but in source window, you can see only the property which you changed, not all. So because the reason is, if it will show all the properties to you, the control code will be increasing like anything. That is the reason they are made like this. Okay, now and text property, two properties, because these are all the common properties. Most of the controls will have some common properties. Properties of label. Okay, number one ID, number one ID, identification of the control. Number two, text, content of the label, text of the label. Next, number three, back color. You can see the back color. What is this back color? You can observe I changed my background color of the label. Observe, that is another property, back color, back color. Next, fourth property is right, important, border color. You can see border color. Let me change. Okay, border color. I change it as black instead of that. Let's say blue. Border color, blue color border. I think it's not visible properly. That's why we'll change what you know. Back color will change. We'll go with normal back color instead of this. We'll go with a normal back color. Then border color, blue color. Okay, next to border style. All these simple properties. Next to, yeah, important properties I'll tell you here. Font, font, font attributes. Font means size of the text. Let's say bold, true. Immediately change it to bold, and italics and so on. Name size. Size means big size. Okay, size of the text. Underline, false, made it as true. Underline. Your label is what? Underline. This is related to font attributes. Next, coming to forecolor. Back color means background of the color. Forecolor means text color. Blue or blue. I change it as blue. Forecolor. Forecolor is nothing but text color. Text color. Okay, now text color. Okay, right. And important tool tip, tool tab,
Will display when
tool tip. You see, it is city in India. It is a city in India. It is a city in India. So what is this?
you mark.
You will use this every day in your web pages. You can observe. Generally, you will have this. Now, you can see, right? Your web page is going to display Hyderabad. Whenever you keep the cursor on your label, you can see it's giving tooltip. It is a city in India. This is called tooltip property. Tooltip property. Okay, guys. Next, come on, come back to label. Yeah, full color tooltip. Visible. True is visible. Make false. Visible true means it will be visible in design time and it will be visible in runtime. Visible false means in design time you can see the label, but if you run the page means runtime. If you run the page means runtime, you cannot see the label. The label will be invisible because you made it as visible equal to false. Visible equal to false. Right. You can see your web page is visible, but your label is not visible. Not visible. That is called visible. Right, now come back to our discussion. Width is what? Width of the label. So these are all the important properties which we discussed. Let's start with small programming here. Can I give you one small requirement to you all?
Yes.
Open all of you people your Visual Studio and get ready for a example in label. Yes, right. Yeah. Example to display one welcome message in web page with the help of label. With the help of label, I want to display one welcome message. With the help of label, I want to display one welcome message. Come on. That requirement is example to display one welcome message in web page with the help of label. The help of label. That is, what is the requirement? Requirement is like this. Yes, you have a web page. You have a web page. You develop an ASP.NET application. In that you have a web page. That web page is web form web form web form
Dot ASPX.
1 minute. Web form 1.aspx. Web form 1.aspx. Okay, that is, here you have a design. It's a design of your web page. Symbol is, oh, it is in design. In design, I need one label. Here the label ID is, it's going to display welcome message. That's why label ID is LBLMS, LBL welcome otherwise. So always by default you will come IDs like label 1, label 2, label 3. But whenever you are using labels like this, if you want to give a user defined ID, that ID should prefix with LBL for labels. Welcome, because welcome message is going to display. Welcome to message. I am expecting when the page is loading, I want to display this. Not in design time, in runtime when the page is loading. Welcome to ASP.NET. Welcome. Tomorrow onwards you will have digital board. So I'm keeping two digital boards simultaneously because sometimes which are giving issues, and to rectify the problem it is taking time. That's why keeping two alternate systems, two internet connections, two digital boards. Okay, but only one faculty. Okay, right. Welcome to ASP.NET. This is what you know. When the page is loading, I want to display this welcome message within the label. What is a welcome message? Welcome to ASP.NET. Did you understand my concern, all of you? Come on, write the code, all of you. Do this example in your system, all of you. Yeah, whenever I'll give design like this now onwards, first immediately you do take design on paper. Okay?
Yes, sir. Done.
Right. Yeah, completed. All of you guys.
Yes, sir.
All run the application. Run the application. Run the application.
Yes, sir.
Got output.
Working. Yes, sir.
Right. Okay guys, come on, let's see. Yeah, let's see the implementation. How many are able to see output? Very good. Now you see, very simple. What you have to do? You have to create the application. You have to create the application, and your web page is already ready. Just to first to drag and drop your label. Drag and drop your label. In design time, you need to change the property of label. What are the properties? ID. What should be the changing the ID is what? LBL.
L3 message.
And make your label text
Welcome.
empty. Make your label text empty. So maybe somebody are written directly welcome to ASP.NET here. No. Here we are expecting to display that label message when the page is loading. In design time, the label should be empty. In runtime, when the page is loading. When the page is loading means, when the page is loading, which event will fire?
Page load event.
Load event. So now,
Page load.
step one is whenever you are developing any ASP application, ASP page, step one is web page design. Now we completed design. Step two is web page design is nothing but .aspx design. Step two is writing the business logic of that web page, where we will write the business logic of the web page, where you will write the server side scripting of that web page within a class file. What is that class file name? Now we need to go for step two. Step two is writing the business logic within the webform1.aspx.cs. In webform1.aspx.cs, you can open like this. You can open by double clicking, you can open, or else you can open that file, right click, view code. This way also you can open that .cs file code. Sorry, right, view code, you can open. And that logic, if you want to initialize the label, a welcome message, you need to write the code LBL label ID welcome dot what is the property text equal to some message whatever it is, but this line of the code you want to execute exactly when the page is
When the page is loading. Loading.
you have to write that code under when the page is loading, which event will fire?
Load event.
Page load event. Load event.
Load event. That's the reason you need to write the code under load event. Sir, when this load event will fire when the page is loading? Suppose load event is not there. How to generate? Load event is the default event of the web page. Whenever you want to generate a default event, concern object. Here object is form, web page. Double click on form. I kept here. Double click on this form, one event, or else when you are in div it is not generating. Go down of the div section. Here, bottom of the div. Double click on form. Double click on form. Immediately one event is fired in your web form. The event name is what? Load. Now here you need to write the code LBL welcome dot property text equal to yes welcome to ASP.NET. Welcome to ASP.NET. Yes. Yesterday we have written response.write welcome to ASP.NET. That is directly you are giving the message within the label. But here that message you are giving not on page directly. Instead of that, on page you are used a control called label. On that label you are giving this welcome message. On that label you are giving this welcome message. Now compile the application means build succeeded. Next execute the application, start debugging. Execute the application, start debugging, or you can press F5. Now you people can observe this like your page is loading. When your page is loading, load event is firing. At the time of load event is firing, you can observe this code is executing lbl welcome.text equal to welcome to what is that ASP.NET. This line is executing. That's why you are able to see welcome message. That is welcome to ASP.NET. Welcome to what is that ASP.NET. Are you clear all of you?
Yes, sir.
Right. So this is my one requirement. Can I give you one more requirement? Can you try now?
Yes.
Yeah, example
Yes,
to
sir.
display two
Yes, sir.
welcome messages. Example to display two welcome messages within label within web page with the help of label, right? So my requirement is, yeah, like whatever we have seen yesterday, same. You have a web page. This is your web page design. This is your web page. Like step 1 and step 2 every time. Step 1 is this. What is a step 1? Web form 1 dot ASPX web form 1 dot ASPX design web form 1 dot ASPX design web form 1 dot what is it ASPX design. You have one label here, one label you have, and here you have one more label, two labels. First label ID is LBL 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 C sharp, and the second label ID is LBL LBL ASP LBL ASP. Your requirement is when the page is loading in this label, I want to display I like C sharp.net. I like C sharp.net. Right. LBL ASP. Next, I like what is that? ASP.net. I like ASP.net. I like ASP.net. I like C sharp.net. I like ASP.net. Yes. Right. When the page is loading. Come on. Can you write? Always. My advice is every time create a separate application and get that feel like drag and drop the control and do the design. Step 1. Step 1 is design. Step 2 is what? Web form 1 dot aspx.cs code. .aspx.cs code means business logic. But these two labels I want to display when the page is,
Loading.
come on, write the code. Come on, guys. Right. Completed, huh? Completed all of you? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Simple. You need to have one more label here. You need how many labels? Two labels. Right. Remove this. Always. You create a separate application, and most of the time we'll do a biggest mistake at the time of design. Already you are running the application last time, and you close it, you observe, sometimes you'll do this mistake. The mistake is build a solution and debug. You're running the application. Start debugging like running the application. Your application is running. Your web page is displaying output, some output. And what you will do, want to do some modifications to the application. We're closing the browser. We will close the browser and we will go to toolbox window and we'll try to drag and drop the control, some other control I want to do. Immediately the toolbox window is not showing any control. Then immediately we had it out. What is happening with our application? My system toolbox is not showing. It's not like that. Still your application is in running mode, debugging mode. That we didn't stop. To stop that, you need to use debug. There is an option called stop debugging. Then debug, stop debugging. With this you can observe again your application return back to design mode. Okay, that mistake generally we use it to do. Now for the next example, we need to use two labels. First label and move the cursor to next line. You see the first label code, and whenever I move the cursor to the next line, it is creating two break tags. The break tags are indicates that cursor is moving to the next line. Next, view toolbox, use one more label. Finally, we are identified there are two labels. First label and second label. Coming to the first label and second label according to our design, open properties window. First label ID is, what is ID? LBL C sharp. LBL C sharp. And the text should be clear. Text should be clear. First label design is over. Now you can observe and go to the source. You can observe first label code is changed. You can observe first label code is changed. Yes, ID is changed. Coming to the second label design. Open properties window and select the second label, label 2, and ID is LDLASP and text can be clear. Text can be clear. Now your label, second label is also ready. Now also you want to display the messages within the when the page is loading. So that's why under which event, load event. Write the code LBL. Yeah. Now you tell me, somebody has to tell the code. Who are somebody, one person respond. Come on, LBL
LVL ASP equal
Sharp.
to C sharp dot text.
equal to what is that?
I love C sharp.
I like C sharp .net. I like C sharp .net. And next level, what is that? LBL
ASP dot text.
equal to, what is that?
I like ASP dot net.
.net. I like ASP.net. I like C sharp.net. I like ASP.net. Now you see, yeah, when the page is, first compiling the application, next executing the application. Now, when the page is loading, load event is firing. Load event is firing. First statement LBL C sharp.text. I like C sharp.net. And next to LBL ASP.text. I like ASP.net. This is the output you are getting. I hope you understood what I said. Right. Next level, we will enter into the next control button. But here we have to understand where we will use label. When we will go for label. When we will go for label generally.
Want to display some message.
Yeah, two places to use label. One is whenever we want to display some messages in your web page, you will use label.
So
1 minute, some disturbance is coming. 1 minute. Whenever we want to display some message on your web page, you can use label. Second requirement is whenever you want to describe some control. Whenever you want to describe some control, we will use what label. Suppose message means any message, welcome message, error message. And whenever you want to display, describe about some other control also will use label. For example, you take a text box, login page it is. Let's say I'm designing a login page. In login page, generally you will have how many text boxes, guys?
User ID, password, and login.
No,
The
how
two
many
text
text
boxes.
boxes? How many text boxes? Two text boxes.
Two.
One button. One button. Text boxes. One button. Am I right? Now coming to this, two text boxes, one button. For example, here observe in first text box generally user will enter what? User ID. In second text box user will enter what? Password. Here the question is how user will understand that he has to enter user ID within the first text box, and how user is understanding that he has to enter the password in second text box. How it will be possible? How he is able to understand? Because left side generally designer will add like user ID like this user ID, and left side of this user will programmer will write password, right? This is what you know. This and this is describing about this and this. This is describing about this text box. This is describing about this text bar. To describe about controls like text boxes or whatever it is, you can take the help of a control called label. Label, label, and here this is text box, text box. This label is describing about first text box. This label is describing about second text box. So that is the story. In all these cases also we'll use a control called label. And now coming to the button. Yes.
Sir, I have a question, sir. Kind of confusing. Maybe it's a dumb question. So in the label for this example which you gave us, we are writing the code in the page load. So it's a server side code, right? So we can achieve same thing with the body section also, writing the same thing in the body section, right?
But if you will write in the body section, that is called that you will get not that what will happen. It is called design initialization. Design initialization means suppose you have written same code in body means what not like this. You can observe like label two labels are there. You have written text equal to I like C#.net. That is a bit difference between HTML and ASP.net. I like ASP.net. If you will write like this, almost all, you are not initializing the text properties in design time, runtime. You are initializing in which time?
Design time.
Design time only you are getting output, but you don't want output in design time. You want output in runtime when the page is loading. You're right.
But
In
in this case also it does in the page load only, right, sir?
no. That is the difference. In HTML, the body will execute when the page is loading. But in what will happen in ASP.NET? What will happen? You cannot say like that because by default you are using Visual Studio.NET. That's why in design time only you are able to see all these things because we are using some development tool. That is the reason. Are you clear?
Okay.
In HTML, the page will not run right. Whenever you write code also, when you have to run the page explicitly. Here, here what is happening? Whatever you have written, it is already appeared in which time?
Design mode.
This is called design time initialization. That's why I said to you when we were discussing about properties, what happened? We discussed that a property of a control we can access two ways. One is design time, another one is
Runtime.
time. Runtime. Design time accessing property means you can take the help of either properties window or source. If you want to access a property in runtime, you should write, you have to access the property within the which file?
.cs.
.cs. So that is a difference. So you are initializing not in runtime, you are initializing in which time the property?
Design time.
Design time. For some time forget about source code. Unnecessarily new confusions will come for all the people. Okay. Right. Next, come back to our discussion. Button control. Where we can use this button control, what we can do. Using button control, we can accept a request or you can accept a command. Whenever you want to, whenever we want to, whenever we want to accept to a request or command, we can use button. We can use what is that? Button. For example, you are accepting, you are designing login page. In login page, after you enter user ID and password, you need to give a command. You need to give a command. Whenever we want to accept a request, whenever we want to, right, give a request, not accept, give a request or give a command we can use button. For example, you entered user ID, you entered password. Immediately you need to ask, come on, I want to get connect into application. Then you have to give a command. That is the reason there you are using a button called login button. Login button. Like that, you entered some details, user details, you want to register. You will click a button called submit button. So this type of requirements will use a control called button. So coming to the properties of button control. Properties of button control. Same. Most of the controls will have similar properties. Most of the controls will have similar properties. Common properties are ID. Common properties are ID. ID. Next, common properties are text and so on. Couple of properties are common, text, ID. So that's why explicitly we don't require to discuss. But here important thing which we have to discuss about button. For every control I said yesterday there will be a default event. What is the default event of button? What is the default event of button? What is the default event of button? Yes.
Click.
Is what? Click event.
Button click.
Click event is the default event of the button. How do I know that click is the default event of the button? Right. Suppose you open your properties window and here you have an icon. This icon is properties icon. This icon is events icon. It is properties icon. It is events icon. Events icon. Right. In this events list too, you can observe there are list of the events for button control. But one event is highlighted by the cursor. One event is highlighted by the cursor. That is what event you know? Click event. That event is called a default event. Or else, whenever you have a control, any control you take, if you want to know the default event, you do one thing. Just to double click the control. Which event is generated? Click event. So click is the default event of the button control. Sir, when it will execute? This click event will execute when? When click event will execute? When click event will execute? Click event will execute. So answer is when click event will execute. Answer when user click the button. When user click the button, click event will execute. So next to which code we have to write? Which code we have to write within the click event? Which code we have to write within the click event? Answer is the code which we want to execute, the code which we want to execute when user click the button. When user click the button, the code which we want is good. When user click the button, when user click the button, particular code we need to write under click event. So that is the story. Now let me give you one small requirement here for click event and button control and the combination of label and button. Task for you is I have a web page. Step 1, I said step 1 is design. Step 2 is logic. The design of web page is like this. I have a web page. That web page is web form 1.aspx. Web form 1.aspx form 1.aspx design form 1.aspx design. Yes, my requirement is simple thing. Here I have a label. And here I have a button. The button value is high. By design time only the button value is high. And btn high id is btn high. Now here my requirement is whenever I will click the button, I want to display here in label is going to display hello. That's why LBL hello. Right? That should be label should display hello. Label should display hello, big hello. You want to display whenever user click the button. For this I want code. Can you write?
Yes, sir.
Come on, write the code fast. Right, written huh? Guys, completed. Yeah, completed. Huh? Hello. Yeah. Here you need first let me do the design. You need first a label. You need one label. Bottom of the label you need one button. Okay. Now you need to do first design. In design time you need to change label what? You need to change label what? Label what you need to change? Label ID.
Hello.
LBL.
First change label ID. Label control ID. So this is the icon is for properties. This is the icon for events. Events icon. When you click this, it will display properties. Label ID should be changed. What is that? LBL. Hello. LBL hello. And coming to the text is what? Clear. Text is clear. Coming to the button. Button ID is what? BTN high. And button text is what? High. Button text also should be high. This is first your design is this. This is your design. But your requirement is whenever you click this, you want to display here a big hello. So whenever you click this, which event will fire? click event. So here we need to write the code under click event. What is the code? LBL hello dot text equal to hello. This code you need to write. Now compilation and execution. Compilation and execution you can observe. Compilation and execution you can observe. Whenever you click the button whenever you click the button hi, concern button click event is fired, it is executing this code. That code is displaying what? Hello. This is what. Now next task for you is like this. Right, you observe. You have a web page. You have a web page. In this web page, step 1 is web page design. Web form, web form 1, web form 1 dot ASPX, web form 1 dot ASPX design, web form 1 dot ASPX design, web page design. You have a label. You have a label. You have a button called display. You have a button called display. Button ID is BTN display. Button ID is BTN display. BTN display. Button ID is BTN display. Right? And the label ID is LBL message. LBL message. Label ID is LBL message. Now, when the page is loading, in this label I want to display a message called load event is firing. A message, simple message, load event is firing. Load event is firing. The message has to display when the page is loading. But whenever user click the button on this label, not this page, I want to display message called click event is firing. Click event is firing. A message called click event is firing. Click event is firing the message. This message will override. This message will get. Did you understand the requirement, all of you?
One more time, sir.
Yes, sir.
First,
When the page is loading, first label is empty. When the page is loading, this message has to display. Load event is firing should display. Whenever end user will click the button, display button, within the same label, click event is firing. Whenever you display this message, the old message will override. Right, come on, write the code, guys. Right, done now? Done, all of you? Right, very simple. you need one label and one button, same. But first label ID is given. One minute. Label ID, what is the label ID I have given? LBL? What is the ID in design?
Message. IBM message.
Data. Button ID is BTN display and button text is display. Button text is display. Right. So here when the page is loading, I want to do something, and when I click the button, something. So you need to use two events. One is load event, another one is click event. In load event, you have to write LBL message dot text equal to load event is filing, and under click event, LBL message dot text equal to click event is filing. You have to write the message like this, is filing. Okay, right? Now you can observe compilation and execution. Compilation and execution. You can observe when the page is loading. When the page is loading, load event is firing. Load event is firing. Load event is firing, because this, whenever you click the button, your click event will be firing. That's why you will get this message. This is the story. Okay, now I'll give you two tasks for you. You try after class. Task one is take the tasks for homeworks. Simple tasks only. What is it? Okay, that is, you have a web page like this. You have a web page like this. You have a label. You have a label, that is LBL message. Web form 1 dot ASPX, and here you have two buttons. One button is show, another button is hide. BTN show and BTN hide. BTN hide. When the page is loading, I want to display Hyderabad. Whenever I click hide button, the label should be invisible. Whenever I click show button, label should be visible. Understood the requirement? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hyderabad should be displayed when the page is loading, and whenever I click hide button, label should be invisible. Whenever I click show button, label should be visible. This is the first task. Understood all of you?
Yes, sir.
Have you taken task on paper, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Task 2.
Yes, sir.
Task 2. You have same story. Task 2 is you have a web page like this. Same. You have a label. The label is telling Gmail. The label is telling Gmail. A text called Gmail. So the label ID is LBL message. And here two buttons. 4 color, 4 color, 4 color. Next back color, back color, 4 color. Next back color, back color. BTN, BTN 4 color ID, BTN 4 color, right here. BTN, BTN back color, BTN back color, back color. Here requirement is the Gmail text should be displayed when the page is loading. By default label is empty. Gmail should be initialized when the page is loading. Whenever you click on 4 color, the text color, Gmail color should change as red. Right, text color should change. 4 color means text color should change. Whenever you click back color, the label background color, the label background color, the label background color should be changed as blue. Should be changed as blue. Did you understand the requirement, all of you? Did you understand? Shall I explain?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Requirement need one more time or shall I explain? One more time or are you
No,
clear?
sir.
Yeah, please, sir.
I'm telling you,
Clear, sir.
the label is empty. Here you have 2 buttons. When the page is loading, initialize Gmail to the label. Whenever you click 4 color button, 4 color ante text color. Gmail color, text color should be red. Whenever you click the back color button, concern label background color should be changed as blue. Blue. Yeah, this is the story. Okay, try these two and we'll see tomorrow remaining. Thank you very much, guys. Bye to all. Okay, any communication you want, you just do through WhatsApp or mail.